Well then, Gemma.
What is this?
What? I'm just doing an impression of this week's Coronation Streak. Thought it was a little bit on the slow side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh dear. It's like... It felt to me like this week was, the VE Day special that covered the Monday and the Wednesday, and then the Friday was ramping up of a few other things but not really getting anywhere with any of it. So I was kind of, I must say I was left not completely on the edge of my seat, gripped by a whole lot of stuff. It had its good points, but on the whole I was a little bit underwhelmed by this week.
I feel like the VE Day episode was just like a throwaway, nostalgic kind of one. And then today's episode was setting up more drama for Monday. And Monday, I think, is going to be quite a good episode.
I hope so.
But today's episode was set up, and it didn't really... obviously, no payoff yet.
Yeah, the VE Day stuff. I mean, it's interesting. We call it the VE Day episode, but there wasn't a whole lot of VE Day in there, was there?
No.
There was stringing up some flags. There was getting the oldies together in a booth in the Rovers to go, oh, I remember VE Day. Do you remember VE? Oh, no, I was too young for VE Day. Oh, yeah, I remember everyone was really happy when the war was over. Rita, are you going to sing us a song? It felt really kind of tokenistic to me.
It's
like, we can't mention VE Day.
I know.
We like Rita.
Usually, sometimes when old people tell you their stories, or you read old stories about what it was like, you're like, oh, this is fascinating. And the thing is about the Corrie, we never saw VE Day on Coronation Street. We know there are established canon things that happened, but somehow they managed to make it a bit boring, and kind of like anyone could have written this.
It felt very much like anyone could have written it, anyone could have said it to me. It felt like...
I had a great time, it was brilliant, everyone was happy. Oh, my dad was in the war,
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Totally. Let's sing some Vera at the end.
Yeah.
Which was touching,
It was alright. It didn't feel... It felt disappointing to me because of all the VE Day stuff that we did to prepare, and all the stuff that we learned, but how can they really do that justice? I mean, how long did we spend talking about it?
Oh yeah, forever.
Ages,
it probably...
we spent a lot of time researching it, and it's not really fair to sort of criticise a show that's not about VE Day when they only have a few minutes really to put stuff in. But one of the strengths of Coronation Street is the history.
I mean, that's the thing. Should they have put the brakes on everything else and made it more about VE Day, or
yeah, I think
is
so.
Is it not relevant anymore? Or is it less relevant? I mean...
Well, because it's not on VE Day.
Well, no, yeah, of course. And I wonder whether it would have felt any more touching or whatever if it had been on VE Day.
More touching. And also, did they edit anything out? I don't know.
I suppose there's also the fact that there are fewer and fewer characters that you can use to talk about VE Day.
But that's even more important to use them.
Well, that's what Rita was saying as well. Somebody was like, "Oh, we got to make sure that nobody ever forgets it," which is it just felt like some really, cliched lines about VE Day.
Try again for VJ Days, shall we? In October.
Let's give it
August.
Let's give it another go, shall we, Corrie? Because it just didn't quite work with me. And some of the other what stories have we got this week? We've got let's get the show on the road to recovery with Shona, as David put it, going 0 to 60 in a second in today's episode. We had a serious case of the Ollie Wobbles, which is what's ramping up, and I'm kind of banking on that to deliver on Monday.
Yeah.
Once this diagnosis comes out, which isn't looking good. We had a bit more of the Scott from the SWAT, although the Scott from the squat, although the Scott in question did not feature in the episode because she's been beaten up, she's been swatted. The Scott from the squat's been swatted by Scott, it seems. And then we had a bit more of the Dan in the Dump story, return of the Seb and Alina Budding story, which I don't think anyone's been particularly asking for. Then a couple of news stories on Friday's episode, which is what is, again, I'm more looking forward to next week. Imran and Toya, Gemma, are fostering a new interest. And then we had a lack of fizz in the Tyrone Stapes household, which I actually thought was quite nice for all of 2 scenes that it featured in. Do you fancy doing the Shona or the Ollie Wobbles?
I'll do Shona.
You do the Shona. So what's Shona and David been up to this week?
Well, she's got her little helper. He's called Aaron, his support worker. And on Monday, she shows up with him at the cafe. And David's there and he wants to help, but Roy just wants to move her in. She's going to live with Roy upstairs. And Roy doesn't want David interfering and confusing Shona. He wants to settle her down and move her in. Yeah,
at the beginning of the week, it was kind of a bit bookended, really. I thought at the beginning of the week, it's Roy saying to Shona, let's get you up them stairs. And at the end of the week, Shona was saying it to David, let's get you up them stairs.
Aaron tells Roy that Shona needs routine in her life, which bricks his ears
Roy's
right
like,
up.
Ding, 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 ding.
I could do that. When should we schedule leisure time, basically? David comes in with magazines that he thinks that she would like. And they're all trying to teach her chess. I don't know why.
Well, what magazines would Shona like, I wonder? Rip Jeans Monthly?
Gardener's World and Country Life. They're teaching her to play chess, and Alex comes in and he's moaning that he's been left to work alone in the cafe.
Alex again. I know, I'm sorry, I moaned about him last week on the podcast, but again, he comes up into the flat, doesn't he? He's like, when are you coming back down to help me then? Doesn't he like throw his tea towel down on the floor or something?
Shona says that she likes the Real Housewives of Cheshire, which apparently she didn't like before.
Apparently not.
I don't know what I'm supposed to make of that information.
Tastes change.
Yeah, I mean, she never struck me as somebody who would be pro or anti Real Housewives of anything. She appears smitten with Aaron, which David notices and is a bit jealous. And then they start talking about Max and Lily, and she's like, "Oh, who are they?" Like she didn't remember at all. And David points out that she was going to adopt them, and she's like, "Well, sorry, I just don't remember." David leaves and Roy promises to look after her and says that Shona just needs time. He comes back because he's left his phone there and walks in on Shona going in for a kiss with Aaron. Dun dun dun. I wonder whether there's some kind of thing about if you have brain damage, you're a bit more, what's the word? Impulsive.
Loose.
I didn't say loose. Impulsive.
Maybe. It affects you all in different ways, doesn't it, Nick?
Well, on Wednesday, Shanna's like, "What's the big deal?" Aaron's like, "It's not appropriate." And she's like, So he goes off and speaks to his bosses, and improbably they say, "Don't worry about it. Nothing can change. Nothing will change. You can carry on being her support worker. Just don't let her jump your bones, I suppose."
Which was quite ironic because we didn't actually see Aaron for the rest of the week after that.
I know, that's a bit silly. I don't really know why she's been given a male support worker either. You'd think it would make more sense if she had a female.
Yeah, and such a irresistibly hunky one too.
Yeah, maybe like a really old guy would be okay. So he says, David asks Shona out for food, but not as a date. And she says, "Yeah, I don't want to go on a date with you. You're not my type." And he makes a joke about inflatable clogs that was really convoluted. Do you remember?
I appreciated it, David. It was about popping your clogs or something, wasn't it? It was great, you know.
It was great, but you can't remember.
It's the way you tell him, and David is the master.
Aaron finds it funny, so who's got the brain damage now?
Me.
You and Aaron. Shona and David are in the bistro.
Me and Aaron would get on really well.
Later, and Shona thinks Ray seems nice, but David's like, "No, he is not nice at all. He's a horrible scumbag." And then, when he gets up to go, she steals his wallet, Ray's wallet, and they leave. They leave together.
I like how David says that Ray's an horrible scumbag, but we're still going to, come to his restaurant, spend a load of money.
Yeah,
there's plenty of other eateries to choose from.
Boycotting people we don't like these days.
Yeah.
They leave, and David realises Shona's stolen the wallet, and he laughs and sort of says, "Oh, that's how we met," to begin with. Shona is embarrassed. She finds this really hard to deal with when David makes a joke, and she doesn't understand what the humour is.
Yeah, there's a lot of that this week, isn't there? Of David, being David and being dry and sarcastic,
and her not understanding.
Yeah.
Because it's like an in-joke that you're not part of, but it's about you. I can't imagine how frustrating that would be. So she's embarrassed. He finds her in Victoria Gardens, and he tells her about the stolen wallet incident.
From, 3 years ago? From whenever it was that she came into it?
They were in a club and she stole his wallet, found his picture and realised that they had a connection. And he says, in time I grew to love you, and you've written beautiful swamp eyes. Is that...
That was one of the things that he said.
Swamp eyes.
Swamp eyes.
What colour eyes has she got?
No. Murky green.
Beautiful.
Maybe.
On the way back to the house, she's like, oh, I really want a cigarette. And David's like, I think, you don't smoke. And then she's getting frustrated, like, oh, I don't know who I am, and I'm craving cigarettes, but I don't smoke, and blah, blah, blah. She's really frustrated, and he says, let's get some chips. And then he says, after you. And she's like, I don't even know where the chip shop is. It really frustrated me how David continuously did not seem to get that, yes, she doesn't know how you first met, and she doesn't know where the chip shop is, and she doesn't know if she smokes, and she doesn't know this, and she doesn't know that. Why do you keep expecting her to remember all this stuff when you're continuously told? She's got the brain damage and the amnesia, not you, but you seem to be the ones having trouble grasping the fact that she doesn't remember things.
No, I think it makes sense.
I don't.
I think he's just finding it impossible to believe, or difficult to believe, that she can have forgotten absolutely everything.
But it's apparent that she has, so get over it.
Maybe he's just like thinking the same as me, like, does this really happen? Is this realistic, thinks David.
This storyline
surely
doesn't make any
how chippy is. Also, didn't they have to, how long, where were they? Would they have not walked past the chippy already? I mean, it's literally...
You're not very observant. I don't know what you're talking about. You wouldn't remember a chip shop.
30-second walk outside the house. Also, it's in between their house and Roy's. You can probably see the chippy from outside Roy's flat.
It's tucked behind.
Tucked behind the medical centre, fine.
So they walk past the Rovers, and everyone is inside doing their VE Day celebration and singing "We All Meet Again."
Yes,
and it's symbolic.
Symbolic, yeah.
On Friday, Shona bumps into Gemma in the street, and she's talking and saying, oh yeah, we used to know each other, we grew up on the same estate. So they go off to the cafe together to have a chat, and Gemma's all like, I'm wise old crone now, I've got 4 children, and I've lived a life in 2 years.
It's all that time spent with Rita, isn't it? That the wise woman
vibe
has rubbed off on her.
Philosophical, because she went to that one counselling session, and now she's over her postnatal depression, and she's dispensing advice to other people. And she says, oh, you need to fit in with yourself, and home is people, not places, which is not very reassuring for somebody that doesn't remember places nor people.
Also, tell that to a homeless person. Don't worry, you got your friends.
I do think that Gemma's platitudes is like, it just feel like she just went into a card shop and just found the sorry you're feeling down in the dumps section and read all the inside.
Again, living a Rita, that's what it does with you.
And then she went, I never thought of it like that. My depression is cured. So Shona summons David for a date in Roy's flat, and he's trying to...
David's a person. I'm saying, that's where she wants her home, is a person, not a place.
He's trying to sort of work out whether they should have a chaperone, and she's like, no, we're going to just have a date together. And she's trying to find something they can have a shared interest in, and she has no idea what they used to enjoy doing together, so she gets out a jigsaw. But she doesn't really want to do a jigsaw. While David's looking for the pieces, she starts stripping off and looms over him like Attack of the 50-Foot Woman or something. And he's like, whoa, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing this? And she gets mad again and accuses him of laughing at her.
She's like saying, sex please, come on, let's just do it. Maybe that's what our connection needs to be.
I think she's not wrong.
It's like the Prince Charming kiss, isn't it? It just works, it's magic.
Right, yeah, could be. She sort of throws the jigsaw everywhere and gets embarrassed, and she leaves. Later on, she's talking to Roy, and she gets told that she needs to take things slow. But she's not interested in that. She wants to find out who she is, and if that means she has to get into bed with David, then so be it.
So how you feeling about this Shona thing at the moment?
It's difficult to know, isn't it? Like, Shona's personality is basically just, she's blunt and says the wrong thing with great gusto.
And I'm enjoying that side of her. I'm still struggling with the whole amnesia thing. See, I like Shona and David together, and I know the end point that I want them to be at, but I'm just finding the route that they're taking to get there. It's not fully working for me. I hope that it. I don't know what I hope, because it's just a weird situation that they're in. I want it'd be if they do show a bit of romance and them getting to know each other again and falling in love again. I think that'd be quite sweet. I don't need it to be the rumpy pumpy jumpy into bed kind of stuff.
Rumpy jumpy.
Yeah, rumpy pumpy bone jumpy.
I think it's realistic that she would want to rekindle whatever romance there was. And if she is kind of being a bit blunt, it's weird, 'cause she seems a bit childish.
Yeah, she does. Well, this has been a bit of a turning point for her this week, isn't it? Because she didn't particularly seem to have any desire to rekindle what was gone up until this chat with Wise Woman Winter in the cafe earlier today. So what is it that's made her change her mind?
The folk wisdom of the local quad mother.
The Earth Mother. You know, it just feels like we know how this is going to end, that they're going to get back together, and Shona's like, okay then, fine. I've had enough of being difficult. You know, I don't know. Do you think... I've seen some people as well online saying, well, is it realistic that there wouldn't be any kind of physical attraction to David? Because even though she might have forgotten him, wouldn't if he is her type to look at, then wouldn't she find him, sexy? But I don't know whether I necessarily buy that.
No, I don't.
I suppose it the fact that she isn't falling for him just by looks is saying that it is about the personality.
Picked him out as a victim, not as a potential life mate. She didn't fall in love with him because of the way he looked, and I think it's a bit more realistic than the usual Corrie, two good-looking people jump into bed together sort of thing.
Yeah. She told David that you're not my type. I quite like the idea that it's not about types.
Yeah.
Do you think that anything more is going to come with Shona and Aaron?
No.
Or is that it now? Is it just there to show off? I don't know, just to get...
Just to add a bit of drama.
Yeah, that's it. It's just a little bit of spice.
I don't think it really made sense that the bosses were like, nah, this happens all the time. I don't even know why we put you with her, to be honest, because you're so hunky and she's so eligible.
Yeah.
It really, I would think he would be taken off the case, but I guess maybe it's realistic because they don't have a big budget and endless staff.
Yeah, an endless supply of support workers, maybe. Yeah. I was also wondering about David coming on too strong as well.
Yeah, I don't like his insistence on her, like, right, you're my wife, it's only a matter of time, you're going to remember everything, and it's going to sort of come in an instant. And
But I feel sorry for him, because
I do as well.
I think lots of people in that situation would be, because again, he doesn't have any memory issues. He's not the one that's putting the brakes on everything. He thinks that, he just wants to make a shortcut and make everything right again.
Yeah, well, he can't just force it. He's going to make it worse.
Yeah.
It is frustrating when a soap character does the wrong thing for the right reasons, and you're just like, you're making it worse. And I think that's maybe why Shona wanted to sleep with him. Like, she said she's not really attracted to him, but he's so insistent that they should get back together, and she's probably like, I just want this to be over. I just want to belong somewhere and feel something and remember something, and if I have to sleep with this guy I don't fancy, then whatever.
I think David as well. I think another reason that he wants to rush this is because he knows that if it doesn't work, if he loses her or if she takes too long, then there's the quite high probability that he's going to go off the rails again. Like, you know, he has been, like with the getting himself into danger, smashing up the street.
Like it's his only hope.
Yeah, she's his lifeline, and if she floats away, then he's just going to drown. And so he's desperately trying to avoid that happening. So he's being a little bit selfish with it. I don't know. I feel bad for him, but it's still all bundled up in the bubble of I don't quite believe the amnesia-ness of it. And still nobody's written in and told me that they know anyone that this has happened to. I'm waiting for that.
I know, but this isn't an issues-based storyline, is it? About
No, it's not. It's soap drama. Do you think that anything is going to come of the introduction of Ray to the story as well, or is that just another? I quite like that call back to the wallet.
Yeah. And then there's not many people that Shona could steal their wallet, and everyone would go ha ha.
Yeah, but I wondered at one point whether, you know, he was going to become part of the story and become her mortal enemy, or
didn't she take the money out of his wallet and then give it to Abby?
No, that was different. And I think that was earlier in the week. That was quite funny when Abby was there with the coffee cup and Shona thought that she was a tramp or something and put the coins in the cup.
Yeah,
that was funny. I like that. Okay, well that was that story. It was okay. I would say that it was the fact that I like David and Shona that kept it afloat for me rather than the actual plot.
Yeah, see, I don't really buy them as a couple.
Whether you buy them as a couple or not, you still like David at least, don't you?
David,
he's a very strong character.
I don't care if he gets back together with Shona.
The
thing is about
need some stability with some characters in Coronation Street, which is one of the reasons why I appreciate the Fizz and Tyrone relationship, because no, they're not particularly interesting together, but they are stable. Mm-hmm. What were you saying?
I don't know.
Okay, so let's do the next story then. This Ollie Wobble's story, which is the whole week really was a bit of a lead up to what's going to be happening on Monday, isn't it? Because Leanne's at the beginning of the week being super paranoid about Steve and Tracy taking Ollie out for a walk because she thinks that he's going to get germs and he's got a tube up his nose and he's not eating properly and everything, and she's just wrapping him in cotton wool really because of everything about his condition and the fact that we've got the results of the tests coming soon and everything. But eventually she allows them to take Ollie to the city farm. Tracy is trying to be nice to her and saying, look, it's all going to be fine, don't worry about it, you and Nick can come along as well. She admits that they're kind of family, which I thought was quite sweet. So then they have their walk in the farm, which was weird. clearly Eaton Park.
There were literally no animals.
I know, that was the giveaway, wasn't there? There were a few ducks on the lake.
Did we even see the ducks?
I think we might have seen some ducks and maybe a swan.
But yeah.
I think we did. What we didn't see though is any cows, and they could have cut to some flipping stock footage of cows later on because
that would have been a bit weird.
Well, it was like the Deirdre and the sheep in Wales. I don't know whether they ever showed any Deirdre and sheep in the scenes together, but
contractually not allowed to appear together.
It did help the believability of the fact that they were in Wales there. But here, the lead up to it was Leanne's worried that Ollie's not speaking, he's not laughing. He knows that he's in the middle of a drama story and not a comedy story at the moment, and she cheers herself right up when she sees him mooing at cows, which is a bit tragic as well because he has regressed so much, and he's acting. What is he, 3 now? But he's acting like, you know, a 1-year-old maybe. But even that is great for her because he seems to be a zombie, doesn't he? He's not reacting to anything. He is, and she's been trying to get his attention and just not getting anything out of him. So yeah, moo cow, brilliant. And then they have the little bond Steve and Leanne do at the end of the episode, and then we watch the video. So everything's looking good, and Friday starts off quite positive as well. Because Leanne sees that Ollie wants to eat something, so she has a bit of a soap Fraser Doom moment when she's talking with Nick and saying, "Oh, everything's going to be okay. We're going to get the results of his test soon. Oh, you know what? I've got a feeling it's going to be all right." Amy, meanwhile, is getting stressed because she's got an RE exam coming up, and she wasted a whole day going to the farm that was actually just the local park. And Steve,
she got missold.
She did. She totally got missold on that. If I went to a farm and all I saw was a ducks and a couple of swan, I bought my money back. Anyway, Steve says, "Look, if you want, when this is all over, we'll go to Cornwall, go to the beach, and we'll have a great time." And then when he first told her he was going to take her to the beach, I did worry for a moment that he might take her to Rory's beach, being the only beach he knows.
You're only allowed, only Rory's allowed to enjoy beaches now.
Yeah, but Michelle's not there to stop them. So they can do whatever they want.
The beach police is gone.
She's the Coast Guard of Rory's beach.
Yes, she is.
So anyway, they're going to go off. They're going to push the boat out and take them down south when this is all over. Leanne doesn't like the idea, though. She calls up number one, and Amy tells her this idea, and Leanne's back to being Mardy again. I'm not really sure why she ended up being the grump, because she'd been in such a positive mood up until that point in the episode. But she tells Amy that they need to go to the hospital. They want to get maybe Ollie's food tube taken out, I think. But when they get there, she has a go at Steve, and he says, "Look, I'm just trying to look forward to something. And I know what you're saying, that why should I be planning all these lovely things when we're in the middle of this drama? But let's have some goal, some nice thing that we can look out for when hopefully this is all over." However, it seems that this is not going to be coming to an end anytime soon, because Dr. Ward comes striding into the room and is like, "Oh, nurse,
yikes,
can you take Ollie to the family room, please? Because we need to talk about him." I don't think that Ollie would really know what was going on.
It's not to do with him, it's to do with the parents.
Yeah, I think...
they're like, "We can't really talk about him when he's in the room because you're going to have an even more emotional reaction.
Yeah.
So you need to concentrate on what I'm saying."
And what I'm saying is... You'll have to wait until next week to find out.
We can guess.
It was never going to be good, was it? Because you did the research when the whole Mito thing came into the programme.
I was going to say, Leanne, we saw Leanne and Toya, like she said, "I'm going to look it up, I'm going to look stuff up." I don't know how she's done any research and not come away thinking, "Blimey, there's not a lot of hope here." Because it's clear that the younger you get this disease, the more you're affected. And he is so young. Mm.
It's probably like she's seen that it's, 99% chance, and actually she thinks she's the 1%. But throughout the whole of this, she's been back and forth between this is a disaster and...
Well, yeah, it's hoping.
Looking on the bright side. That's what she was right at the beginning, wasn't she? When she first heard about the condition, she was like, "What, you're saying there's a chance that he might survive? That's all I want to know."
You can't blame her. This is what anyone would be like.
Yeah, she's in some total denial about it, but I don't know. I will be interested to see her reaction on Monday when the cold, hard, and this isn't a spoiler here, but come on, we know where this is going, and when the cold, hard truth is shoved in her face, what is she still going to be in denial, or is it finally going to click to her? I think we're might see a bit of crying on Monday, and I hope Simon Gregson's up to it as well, because as silly as Steve has become in recent years, they need to show him having a realistic reaction to being told, "Sorry, there's nothing we can do to save your son." What do you think about Steve's plans to go to Cornwall and Leanne's reaction to that? I felt a bit sorry for Steve there. I didn't think that what he was doing was wrong.
Not necessarily. I mean, he didn't... Thing is, she found it out from Amy, and she shouldn't really have... It should have been Steve, and Steve should have spoken to her, because basically they just kind of went, "Yeah, whatever, we can bring Ollie and Leanne with us because we're going to get a really big place." But with a child that's so sick they can't even eat, it doesn't seem quite realistic to say that you can bugger off to anywhere, because you're going to need to be near a hospital that knows that knows you.
So was it Steve not thinking it through properly then, rather than
I think
being positive and saying, look, let's just have this?
It didn't really make sense either, because Steve knows a bit more about it than Leanne, because he looked it up as well. I just can't believe that either of them, having looked up what this disease does to you, have gone, well, it doesn't apply to me.
I'm feeling a little bit like, because Steve doesn't live in the same house as Leanne and Ollie, whether he doesn't, whether he's not completely part of it, and whether it's not like Ollie is Leanne's life 24/7, whereas Steve has got his other life.
Yeah.
And so maybe he not forgets is the right word, but
he can put it in a different compartment.
Yeah.
He's got Amy to think about as well, etc.
Okay, well, as I say, all build up this week, wasn't it, in that story? So I'm sure there'll be a lot more to talk about next week. So we'll save anything more till then. Carla, Gemma, back over to you again.
Right, I'm going to get this out. The VE Day stuff, it's all fine, but I know loads of people really liked Carla and Peter dressing up. I absolutely hated it.
That was your big bugbear on Monday, wasn't it?
I didn't like it at all. I thought it was really disrespectful. I get that Peter was in the Merchant Navy and he was wearing a Navy uniform, so I guess that's fine. But Carla was wearing, I don't know what uniform she was wearing, but she had her
sexy uniform.
Her shirt untucked, and I thought it was ridiculous for a 40-plus-year-old woman to be like, I'm a sexy schoolgirl, I'm going to untuck my my shirt, because I want everyone to think I'm cool and not taking it seriously. This is a commemorative event for a war that killed millions of people. You don't need to be sexing it up behind the bar in your sexy uniform. Like, it wasn't... Just wear it properly like a normal person, Carly. You're not 12. It really annoyed me.
You did...
I think it would have been annoying even if they had just been wearing uniforms, because dressing up is one thing, but wearing military uniforms I think is a bit weird.
So you didn't have a problem with Alex and Evelyn, because they were dressed up as well, weren't they? Well, Alex was just fine. Boy, and
he had
Evelyn
like a
was
boy hat on, didn't he? And Evelyn had like a shawl thing.
Yeah,
I thought that was fine.
So it's the fact that it's a military outfit that you don't like.
It's stolen valour.
It didn't bother me in the slightest. But fortunately, it wasn't a main focus.
I think it was fan bait again. I think it was Carla and Peter fan. Like, look at this, everyone. He loves Carla and Peter. We're dressing them up and everything. Anyway, that's my moan. I'm not going to moan about it again because it's boring to people that don't agree with me. Scott, Carla and Rita are hanging up the bunting. What's that on Scott's knuckles?
Not supposed to see that, although well done to the people on the internet that did notice on Monday's episode that he had bruised knuckles.
They make sure that you see it on Wednesday.
Yeah, and it made me wonder, because it didn't feature in today's episode, should it have been so obviously pointed out on Wednesday? Because when somebody on the internet pointed out after Monday's episode, did you see Scott's bloodied knuckles? I was like, oh, is this a little clue that they've put in? And, later down the line, when it's revealed that Scott was the one that beat up Jordan and Chelsea, that we dropped the clues all along. But on Wednesday, it was like, spelling it out.
I said to you on, I can't remember, was it Saturday or whenever, I was like, I think it's really obvious who beat up those scallywags. I think it was the drug dealer that they said was going to beat them up.
Yeah, you were convinced about that after.
No, I was like, well, we were going, who could it possibly be? If it's not Peter, who else would have a grudge? And they spent the whole week going, we're going to get beaten up unless you give us this money. And we're like, who could it be? Anyway, it obviously wasn't them either. It was obviously Scott. Unless he just... What did he say he did? Oh, he caught it on the door.
Yeah.
Well, accidents happen.
Maybe he just did a bit of Daniel and punched a wall.
Could be. Maybe he did a bit
red
of Chesney
herring.
and nutted a wall. Rita's going on and working, remembering V-Day. Does the Lest We Forget bit. Scott brings up the scallywags and tells Carla that they won't be back because he and Abby kicked them out. And then, we said last week, Abby was the unsung hero, but Carla decided to sing her praises by taking her a bottle of fizz to say thank you for helping her last night. Could there be a friendship blooming there? I don't really want to see Abby and Carla as friends.
Oh, I don't mind.
No.
Abby might, inject a bit of fun back into Carla.
I just think Carla's going to drag Abby down. Carla sees a newspaper headline about the beating, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, what could this be related to what Scott said about how I don't need to worry about them anymore?" Wouldn't it be funny if it just was two random people, nothing at all to do with?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Didn't expect that, did you? Wednesday's episode started weird because one of the other things about VE Day, which didn't work at all, was Michael Bailey seemingly having no idea A, that it was VE Day, and B, what VE Day even is. I don't
hope
get.
There aren't people around like that, but I've seen them on social media.
But Michael doesn't seem to be that dumb that he wouldn't realise. It was supposed to be endearingly stupid because, he's got his head in the clouds and everything.
I don't think you can be endearingly stupid about not realising what the significance of the end of World War II is.
I know that Weatherfield was the only pocket of the community in the whole country that was celebrating VE Day on that day.
Yeah.
In the middle of June.
Maybe he was just confused because it's not in June though.
But I don't know how many adults could have, got to Monday or VE Day, happening, not knowing that that's what it was. It was a bit silly.
Well, some things you can sort of be what's the word? Excuse for not knowing, but VE Day has been celebrated in this country every year.
For how long? It's only 5 years.
Exactly. It's not like something where...
But Michael's not been there for all of them, bless him.
Okay, darling. Carla shows Peter the paper and asks him if he did it. And he's like, "Oh, I'm so offended. I wouldn't beat up a woman."
Me? Peter hit somebody?
Never. Well, lots of people said this as well. We didn't really think about this, but a lot of people were going, "Oh, Peter is so honourable. He would never kill anybody. He would never hit a woman." I just found that a bit patronisingly sexist.
Peter's had a temper. He's shown himself to have a temper in the past.
So VE Day recollections. Norris turned up and fanfared, but he was there.
It took me even a real minute to notice that Norris is there.
Rita, Audrey and Ken all in the booth chatting about VE Day and talking about what they remember about it, and we get a shout out for Frank Barlow, which is interesting.
Because we know who he is now, and Betty and Billy Williams as well.
But
that's like I said earlier. It all felt very much like
it?
Let's drop some names here because Corrie fans like it. Yeah.
From the 50th, yeah. 50th anniversary of VE Day. Carla keeps trying to get details from Peter about last night and what he was doing, because like we said before, there was this bit of a gap here when he worked till midnight and then he came home at 2, and that was a very suspicious block of time, and he eventually admits that he was at an AA meeting. They seem to just hold these whenever
I know, late night AA meeting.
At any point in time, whenever you feel like a drink, come to an AA meeting.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's what they're like.
I suppose late night is the best time to have your emergency meetings, because that's when you're most likely, is it? I don't know, to
when you get bored.
Reach for the bottle when the pubs are open. Don't know.
Pubs aren't open at midnight.
Oh yeah.
Scott comes in and Emma.
Maybe they are on VE Day.
Did they have? I think they had.
Pubs weren't open at all on VE Day this year.
They did. Previous years they have extended the opening hours of pubs for things that are patriotic, because the Tories like to score a few points there. Scott comes in and Emma's like, "Oh, your knuckles are bruised, like you've beaten up some scallywags," and he says, "No, I caught it on a door this morning."
You should have said, "Oh no, I just got my hand stuck inside a vase." And she's like, "Yeah, happens to us all."
And then she went home and go, "How did that happen?"
Maybe.
You've done it again, Emma.
Anyway, literally the only thing to discuss there that so it was Scott, and there's still the mystery of who is Scott, and the prevalent theory online at the moment going around is that he's Carla's real dad, isn't it? Which I don't want to be true, and I don't think is true. I don't think could be true.
Clip of him talking to Carla about her mum, because it seems weird to me that if he was her dad, he wouldn't realise who her mum was. He must know who he got pregnant.
He didn't. When Johnny found out that he was Carla's dad, he had a DNA test that literally said it.
Yeah.
So I think it's impossible, unless Corrie do a retcon, which, you know, isn't completely off the cards. It's impossible for him to be Carla's dad. And I just... Maybe Corrie fans are just... Or some Corrie fans are just saying that because it's a sensational, soapy thing to happen. And
no, I think
also
it's
Corrie's been recently doing a lot of that recently, but that's the reason why I don't want it to be. I'm fed up of there being so many stories in Coronation Street at the moment about people's family members being someone who they didn't originally think they were, like Steve being Emma's dad, for example. Like the original, Johnny finds out that he's Carla's dad, Tyrone finding out that Evelyn's his grandma and Jackie's not his real mum. There's been too much of that recently in Coronation Street. People finding out that they're actually related and everything I knew was a lie. I don't need it anymore.
It'd be a bit silly to have it happen to the same character twice.
Yeah. It would. It doesn't need this. Unless
he is the husband of Carla's real mum.
Mate.
Because it's possible that her mum isn't who she thought her mum was, but, you know... It could be that Johnny had an affair with his wife, who was Carla's real mum, and then she had the baby, and then she, in her grief, did something awful, and then gave the baby to this woman to look... I don't know.
It feels very convoluted and messy, and it's about a load of characters that we've never even met.
I know, but the thing is, why does Scott care so much about Carla that he would go and beat up some scallywags, if that is indeed what happened, when he hates her dad?
He doesn't hate her dad.
He does hate Johnny.
Does he? What makes you think that? Because he came in to the road...
Johnny ran away from him.
That's because we're assuming that Scott has got something on Johnny.
Well, Scott must know that.
If Scott,
there's some back history with Johnny and Scott. We know this because Johnny was avoiding him and then he ran away to France.
Yeah. Johnny can't know.
How is it possible that Scott doesn't realise that's what's going on?
No, I think he does realise.
Well, then there must be bad blood or something that's happened. What could it be that caused that rift between those two men, yet he feels protective over Carla?
I don't know.
That's my point. It's not weird that people think that he's her dad.
The fact that Johnny... The main mystery around this is Johnny knows that Scott has got something over him or something, which must mean that the mystery can't be that Scott is Carla's real dad, because Johnny doesn't believe that Scott is Carla's dad.
Well, he believes he is Carla's dad.
Johnny believes that he's Carla's dad, so he can't think that Scott is, yeah.
Yeah.
And there can't be two mysteries in this. That'd be silly.
Inception.
Just hurry up back from France, Johnny and Jenny, so we can get this solved, please.
It is quite mysterious and intriguing.
It is. I hope that when the mystery gets revealed, it's worth it. It's been worth all the wait. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I don't know whether it will be. Anyway, so that was that story. Nice to see Norris again. Sad to see that he and Frida's weddings are possibly on hold. Another mystery this week, and that's been a bit of a talking point on our Facebook group today, has been what Daniel and Nikki got up to. Which, when I watched it, I thought it was obvious. And now I'm thinking...
But a lot of people thought the opposite, and they thought that was obvious as well.
Yeah. So, basically, Daniel spends Monday's episode having a good old mope in his flat. He's got a photo of him and Nikki, the girl from the bar who turned out to be a sex worker. He's got this photo on his phone, and then he decides to go and see her. He gets himself drunk first. He goes down to the shop, gets a load of lager from Evelyn, and not just any lager. Premium lager, so that he can get completely pie-eyed. And he's cracked open a can before he's even left the shop.
Good lad.
Which Evelyn tells Adam about later, although I don't think anything particularly comes from Adam knowing that Daniel's getting himself drunk, so maybe that's to come later.
Well, the thing is, he had set up an alibi, hadn't he? And he said he was playing squash.
Yeah. So Adam now knows
that this isn't the case. But who's looking after Bertie?
I don't know where Bertie is during any of this. Maybe they said, or maybe they forgot it.
Maybe Adam got tricked into looking after Bertie because he thought that Daniel was playing squash, but he was just working up a sweat doing something else.
But was Bertie with Adam at the time?
I don't know.
Remember.
I don't know.
I think that Daniel just puts Bertie in front of the laptop and plays Sinead's videos on loop, and that's the babysitter. Where Daniel actually is going to the hotel to see Nikki, who lets him into the room at the end of Monday's episode.
Hotel room,
Wednesday starts with Daniel freaking out a little bit, thinking he's made a mistake. He tries to escape out the door, and Nikki says, "Look, don't worry. A lot of my clients are married. You're not the only one." And he's like, "No, it's not that." And then the floodgates open, and she is, inundated with.
He tells her his life story about how
basically
Sinead died.
Yeah, I mean, she should be lucky that she didn't get the whole mummy issues story that he's also had. I had to raise myself,
I know.
But no,
Next week.
he just catches her up on his latest tragedy, which is about his dead wife.
About how lonely he is.
Yeah, and she says, "Oh, you don't have to be lonely anymore." And that was it.
£220.
£220. That's the cost of the room included. Thank you very much.
She says, including the room, it's £220, and I'm thinking, well, I'm staying here then. You can bugger off.
I thought you might get it for free because he did give her a load of money last week, didn't he?
The previous instalment I gave you.
Yeah, he's in credit.
Yeah, if I had to pay for the room as well, she'd be out on her ear. I think she's got a right racket here, because I bet you there's somebody else waiting down the corridor, and she tells them all she's got.
It's Jeff, isn't it?
I need some more money for the room.
Daniel goes back home, has a shower. I think you said that he deleted the photo, didn't you? Because I wasn't sure what happened there. But he looks at the photo, and then the photo's not there anymore. So he's kind of whatever. He's looking regretful about whatever it was that transpired in that hotel room. Which literally, honestly, I thought they just talked.
Oh, did you?
I at no point during Wednesday's episode did I think that they'd done the nasty. Whereas in the Facebook group, it seemed to be a bit of a 50-50, because people were asking, did Daniel and Nikki sleep together? And half the people there saying, well, yeah, of course they did. And half of them like, no, I didn't think they did.
Well, the fact he had a shower was interesting, you know.
Well, you can have a shower for other reasons, can't you, than just hiding, washing away the evidence.
Hot.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know whether him having a shower enough was just having a shower was enough to suggest that they did it.
Well, if they didn't, then she still charged him the full amount, which I think's unfair.
She gives premium conversation.
He should have gone to Toya.
She's a top therapist. I know this. I also said this on the Facebook group this week. Toya's rates are a whole lot more reasonable, and she's she needs the money at the moment.
I know.
She's possibly got a kid on the horizon that she needs to pay for.
She's not a counsellor anymore. She's a nebulous worker.
Yeah, doing who knows what at the factory, but she's so vital to the running of Underworld that she's given Friday off to go out on a protest.
I know. So the main question here is, how does a single father with no job rustle up £220 to talk or shag a lady?
So it's that Sinead's life insurance. He's cashed it in, yeah.
He took some out on her.
Maybe he did. Although I don't know how much life insurance that she would have got. It depends.
Depends on whether they sort of
pre or post diagnosis.
Well, it depends on whether they spoke to her first, and if they had, they would have come away going, "This woman is useless. You're not getting any money out of this."
Yeah, even if the cancer doesn't get her, she's probably just going to walk in front of a bus one of these days. So I guess with the whole sexy times thing, I mean, maybe we'll find out when Nikki gets pregnant. But like I said last week on the podcast, I am in no mood at all for Daniel to get romantically involved with anybody, but it looks like this isn't the last we've seen of Nikki, because she seemed like quite a nice caring sort, and almost that chatty persona that was there the first time that he met her in the bar last week. It felt like a bit more of a front, because she seemed a lot more down to earth and shoulder to cry on-ish on Wednesday's episode. So
well, she has to be a personable companion, doesn't she?
She does.
She gets paid to be interested in you.
Yeah. Maybe Daniel's going to find the real Nikki behind the mask.
I don't know whether... I don't know how... I mean, Sinead and Daniel were doomed because Sinead died of cancer. This is doomed because I don't think that Daniel could really handle dating a sex worker who has to sell her affections to other men.
I know, apart from the fact that, it feels like Bethany Mark II.
He's far too intellectual and sensitive to be able to brush this off, if indeed anyone could be expected to.
It feels a bit Afterlife as well, doesn't it? With the sex worker there as the friend.
She wasn't dating him.
No, but they were friends, weren't they?
They sort of grew to be companions. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is weird. I don't know where this is going. I think it's weird.
Yeah. It was.
I want to know how much research they did to find out what the rate of a session is, and is this realistic, or did they just go, we're not going to look into this, we just how much would you do it for? And it was kind of like just fishing as well as trying to work out.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that Nikki will be back, because the fact that he was looking at the picture on the phone at the end of the episode makes me think that he's not quite over her. And he falls in love too quickly, doesn't he, Daniel?
He does seem to be a bit of a serial philanderer.
He's looking for somebody to fill that hole in his life.
I don't know why I find it a bit...
He should take a leaf out of Imran's book and date Leanne and Toya at the same time, because he can get Toya for the counselling and Leanne for the prostitution.
Yeah, exactly.
That's that.
Yeah. So what do you think of Nikki? She's nice enough.
She's nice enough.
I really liked how completely... I know this is not a surprise, but she was completely non-judgmental to Tanya. She's like, oh no, all my clients are adulterers. I don't mind at all. Everyone gets lonely sometimes, you know. I wonder what she really thinks.
She seemed nice enough, but I don't know whether we haven't seen the real Nikki yet. She's only been in 2 episodes so far, 3 maybe, and the first time I saw her last week, I thought, I don't need to invest in this character. She seems to be a bit of a one-off, and now it feels like, maybe she's going to come back again.
Do you reckon that she could end up blackmailing Daniel? That'd be quite fun.
Maybe.
Because
it'd be a nice twist.
That she's going to end up in a relationship with Daniel, and we're going to have to go through the heartache of, I don't want you to be on the game. Well, Daniel, that's how you met me. How am I supposed to earn a crust? Well, you should just get a job at the factory like everyone else. Oh.
Maybe.
It'd be kind of interesting if she turned out to be evil, because, of course, she seems nice. That's her job, to be nice to men for money.
Yeah. He's just not ready to move on. Again, yeah. So a twist to that story, I'd be all for, I suppose. Speaking of doomed relationships, Seb and Alina and Emma. Every time this story came on this week, I gave a little sigh, which is weird considering
we were into it before.
We like Emma. I kind of like Alina. Seb's got his charms, but the fact that this story has appeared it's reared its ugly head after 2 months, and we're beginning it with saying, who's dating who at the moment? Are they still all living? Are they friends? What have they got beef with each other? And
it's just like watching 3 hopeless idiots, wasn't it?
Yeah. Go on.
With no bumbling around each other, unable to say what they think, and it's not really fascinating.
No, and I don't think they were any further at the end of the week than they were at the beginning of the week, other than Emma had her hand stuck in a vase.
On Monday, the living arrangements are still causing issues between Seb, Emma and Alina. They're all living in the flat together, and Seb's been trying to find somewhere to live for a while now, and he keeps complaining that he can't get anywhere, and he's promising he'll find somewhere new soon, and then she and Emma and Alina will...
She said, you'll be friends, I won't be here anymore, and everything's going to be fine.
Who brings Emma flowers because he said he made a mess in the flat, and she's not very impressed with this. And then Alina asks Seb if he thinks that he and Emma could reconcile, and he thinks that's probably not going to happen. And he says, I'm in love with someone else. And she's like, does she know who? Does she know that you love her? And all this, basically talking about her. And they both sort of know, but they're dancing around it. And then Emma comes in and she's like, these flowers are crap. It kind of kills the mood a little bit. Then we get Michael talking about Grace to Alina, and then the conversation turns from that to her and Seb, and we find out that she still likes Seb as well, even though she reluctantly admits it. So
it all feels just like, playground. My mate fancies you and you fancy her.
Oh, but what if he doesn't really fancy me? Oh, how can I find out? I'll send him a note. Do you like me? Yes or no? Tick the box.
Tell you what, it's no Ken, Deirdre and Mike this, is it?
No, it is it's very juvenile, and it's a bit weird too, because these characters are all a bit too old for this.
Yeah.
So he blatantly told her that he liked her on Monday, and then on Wednesday she's telling Michael that she likes him. And the main sticking point is basically Emma is the ghost haunting their flat and preventing love from blossoming. So on Wednesday, when Seb comes back after telling Alina's told Michael, they're in the flat together, and he comes on to her and she pushes him away, and he says, just tell me you don't have feelings for me and I'll leave it. And she says that it wouldn't be fair on Emma, we'll just try to be friends. Good luck. So on Friday, Seb apologises to Emma about all the mixed messages that he's been giving her.
She drops off again, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She's been a right grump this week,
I know,
Emma.
it's not been really great, is it?
Not been a good Emma week.
He and Alina agree to have a drink as mates later, but then Alina comes back to the flat, and there is Emma, and she's got her hand stuck in a vase.
She's been doing some washing up, hasn't she? In her hand?
Yeah.
Which I think that does sound quite good on paper. It sounds like...
It was funny. I was prepared. I was like, what?
I'm hoping that they'll make something of this on Friday.
No, but
on Monday.
I thought I would hate it. But then when I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is actually quite funny. She's still sweet. Emma still is sweet and funny.
Will they take the idea of Emma's hand being stuck in a vase and do funny stuff with it, or will they just have her going, oh, my hand's stuck in a vase, how can I get it out? And then because of that, and Alina maybe trying to help get the hand out of the vase, she's late for this meeting for a drink with Seb, and that's it. But the other alternative is this could turn into the episode, the classic episode, the one where Emma gets her hand stuck in a vase, and they could come up with some funny situations and some great dialogue with it. And somebody getting their hand stuck in a vase feels like it could be the synopsis to a 1970s Coronation Street
plot. It does
plot.
feel like it could be a classic setup, but I don't know.
You know the one where Hilda got her head stuck in a vase, or hand stuck in a vase. Sorry.
I don't really know what the dilemma here is, though.
Well, I think it's, like I said, I think that Alina's now going to be stuck rescuing Emma, and she's going to miss on her date with
Alina
with
can
Seb.
just solve the problem by going, Emma, are you making a fist? Relax your hand.
Yeah, maybe.
Honestly, that was the most interesting part of the whole.
That's finally in the last scene of the episode, and this is after 3 episodes worth of it. That's the last bit where my attention and my ears pricked up a little bit more, and that there felt like a return to the Emma that we liked.
It's all just a bit insipid, and it's not showing the characters off to their best.
No, I can't believe that it was only like 6 months ago. Like, oh, I want Seb to go out with both of them. I like Seb with Alina. Oh, but I love Seb with Emma. They're both perfect. It doesn't matter which one that they go for.
Alina, poor Alina.
And now I'm kind of like, I don't care.
Die.
Pick one. And so yeah, it was just a bit of a yawn fest, really. Okay, I think, like I said earlier, they were no further forward really than they were at the beginning of the week. And at the beginning of, if you'd have asked me like last week, so what's the situation with Seb, Alina and Emma, I wouldn't have known. So they could have created whatever situation they wanted at the beginning of the week. Yeah. Moving on to the final few stories. Imran and Toya have got a new little project, haven't they? Which seems to have been pulled out of nowhere. Toya has got another one of her protests with Evelyn and Nina first thing on Friday, and Imran's a bit worried that she's going to miss their very important meeting that's coming up soon. I wish that I hadn't known what the meeting was going to be about, because I think if I'd been completely in the dark about it, I'd been like, oh, I wonder what it is, and then, oh, it's fostering. Whereas, because I'd seen in some spoilers that they were going to be involved in some fostering, it lost the mystery for me, unfortunately.
I like the bit where she's going, I've got to go to a meeting, and I think it was Evelyn was saying, oh, mysterious meeting, and she's like, no, not to me. I quite like that, the way that Toya was like, no, I know what I'm doing, but I'm still not going to tell you. I really like that.
Yeah, because they go to the protest, come back, have a bit of a chat about the pronunciation of Boudica, or Boadicea. And,
how do you say it?
Boudica.
I say Boadicea.
You're wrong.
Oh, God.
And we'll talk about this after the podcast, Gemma.
All right, okay.
So anyway, it's a fostering meeting that they're going to have somebody come round to the flat to visit them, and they're all looking quite excited and cheery and positive about this, and like they've been having their own secret story off screen.
I know, of course they would be having this interesting storyline off screen. Why would we want to hear them talking about this? What interest of this would be to us? Nothing at all.
I almost put this in with the Ollie Wobbles story because it seems perfectly written to cause tension and drama between Toya and Leanne, and to be honest, it does seem a little bit insensitive of them to be saying...
Well, it's not like they must have just decided. This must have been months in the making before Ollie even got sick.
Yeah, which is why it would have been a shame.
Oh,
it would have been nice.
Fostering a child, I would just phone up and see what they got in.
That's how this comes across a little bit, though, doesn't it?
No, only because you're not paying attention.
Well, there hasn't been any clues up until this point that Toya and Imran are interested in fostering.
But you have to imagine they've spoken about it.
Yeah, I know. I just wish that we'd seen some of it. I mean, 2 years ago, we couldn't shut up Toya about getting a kid, and this time it's suddenly been dropped on us. Yeah, that's probably the thing. Well, last time I kept going on about it, saying on the podcast. Yeah. So,
baby rabies, they called it.
I think it could be an interesting direction for them, but
will it go anywhere though?
Probably not.
Because I think Imran was like, you've got to tell Leanne, I think, right?
It was they were talking about when's the right time to talk to Leanne about this, because I think they're thinking that Ollie's on the up, because that's what people were saying this episode, wasn't it? Like,
who knows what sound ducks make?
Yeah.
That's all you need on
Coronation Street. It feels to me that
education of any sort. You just need to know animal noises.
It's either going to cause tension between them, and Toy will end up looking like a bit of a cow, or she's going to realise, yeah, let's leave it for a bit, shall we?
So you don't think it is likely that by the end of the year we're going to have Toya and Imran as mummy and daddy?
Maybe by the end of the year. Well, I suppose the other thing is if that's what they really want, and let's just assume that off screen they have been talking about this for a long time, and they haven't just woken up one morning and decided that it'd be lovely if they had a kid. Does Leanne and the predicament that she and Steve and Nick are going through at the moment, do they have the right to stop them? And yes, it is a bit awkward.
Why would you stop them? Well, my child's sick, so you can't have one.
But I think Leanne's going to might feel resentful towards Toya if she's playing happy families with Imran at the same time that Leanne herself is going through all of this drama. Yeah,
she might very well do, but it's not fair, is it?
No, it's not fair.
Especially considering that, Leanne, like, Toya's never blamed Leanne for just having a baby without even meaning to.
If
when anyone's got so cause to be resentful about the situation to begin with, it would have been Toya.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even want to have a baby, and
Do you think that I'm wondering how much Imran does want kids?
I know,
because we know that Toya really, really, really wants a baby, and this is going to be interesting to see. Does she want a baby or does she want a child? Because the likelihood of them adopting a really young baby is not very likely.
I don't know about that. I think fostering a baby must be the hardest thing, because you're not adopting. You're doing all the hard work. The baby's never going to remember you. You don't know when the mother's going to, or when it's going to be taken back. You're just looking after this screaming, pooing machine for someone else. That's like the definition of unconditional love, isn't it?
Yeah,
you're not going to get anything.
I wonder whether Toya and Imran are kind of thinking, we're going to get one and it's for keeps, or whether they're thinking, let's try it out for one.
I don't know that you can be like that with foster children.
No, I guess not. I mean,
because some of them are, look, we need to get this kid somewhere, because the parents have gone, you know, like with Abby, really. I mean, that turned into a permanent solution, didn't it? Because Abby gave them up.
Yeah.
But plenty of other children just get fostered because they temporarily need somewhere to live, and putting them in care is not really a good solution.
Yeah, which we've seen before on Coronation Street quite a lot, to be honest. The idea of characters fostering is running the risk of becoming a bit stale, because it used to be Rita and Len, and then we had Roy and Hayley did some fostering. We had Steve and Becky were looking into fostering at the same time as Anna and Owen were. And Anna lucked out, I suppose, at the end, because she did get to keep Faye. I mean, I know she abandoned her in the end, but because Tim turned up on the scene, Faye didn't end up going away. So
I like the idea. I like the idea of fostering as a concept for a TV, for a soap.
And it makes sense in these characters' cases.
Because also, you could be like, you could be the sort of person who adopts a child and then decides, fosters a child and then says, I would really like to adopt this child. Can we make this happen? And then the child gets adopted, and you literally
go to find the local assassin and say, can you just deal with the parents, please?
And then you sort of.
I'm sure Imran knows some shady guys that would do that.
And then you end up, so you just foster and then adopt one child. Or you could be the sort of people who foster a series of children, or even have multiple children at once from different families, and you just sort of keep fostering them in and out. Honestly, I'd love to do that.
I like the idea that it builds starting to build a bit of a family between Imran and Toya. If I had a big
house, I'd love to foster kids, loads of kids.
Because Imran and Toya's relationship has been not, one of the best developed. And I mean, none of the relationships are particularly.
It does, like, from the point of view of this is a big commitment here. I don't feel like we've been asked to commit to Toya and Imran as a couple.
No.
Where's the build-up? I mean, is this supposed to convince us that they're definitely serious?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so. There's just been an awful lot going on off screen between those two.
They're a pair of backstabby bitches, aren't they, really? Because they're living in a house with 3 other people.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we'll go to this meeting and decide whether we're going to kick them out with no notice.
Did they talk about that, or they said that they wanted to? I thought they were saying that they might want to go move somewhere else.
Well, it doesn't really look like the sort of place that they should be living in, to be honest.
No.
I mean, Gary and Maria have a swanky flat that seems to be a bit more to the standard of Toya,
befitting
and
of a lawyer and a counsellor.
Yeah, so you've got a hairdresser and a loan shop living in this. Although I don't think Imran would want to move into this pink and bronze marbled boudoir that Maria set up for herself.
Yeah, but if they did move to Victoria Court, it'd help him with his spying of Gary. It'd be a good stakeout place, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think that Imran does want kids, or do you think he's just going along with it for Toya, though?
We've speculated about this before, and I think I mentioned something along the lines of, I wondered whether there was some kind of genetic thing, because we had, I know that Emmerdale has done a storyline about somebody who's got a genetic disorder or something, and now we've got Ollie with the genetic things, and they're not going to do it again, but I thought it was notable that you had Imran and Rana, who both could have been settled down and have kids types, because they were both married at one point, seemingly happily, at least to begin with. And the subject of children never came up, and they never had children.
I thought that the subject of children did come up with Rana, and she didn't want them. She didn't want them with Zidane, but then she did want them with Kate or something. No, Kate wanted them.
That's right, and Rana didn't. And that's what set me down the path of thinking, wonder if there's something a bit more to this, because that's right. Because Imran, a man not wanting kids, to me is not unusual. I don't know. Maybe I'm being sexist, but it seems like in a relationship, it's predominantly women who want to have children. I don't know, and so the fact that Rana was like saying no, I don't, and then Imran was like, we never had kids together.
Yeah,
I think the insinuation was that his Sabine was a very high-flying professional woman who wouldn't have had time to have children.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what happened. Maybe Imran wanted kids and she didn't, because she didn't want it to get in the way of her job. And now he's with Toya and she's always wanted kids, but she can't have them.
Yeah.
It is interesting. I think it is. I think it would be nice to discover why Imran never had kids with his first wife.
Yeah.
Although
but will Corrie actually tell us this, or will it just be used as a, as I say, something to get him in the way of the Ollie and Leanne story?
I just keep thinking, Imran's too young to have kids. He's just a little tyke. I don't even know how he knows any law.
And Toya's far too irresponsible anyway, because she's going up and doing these protests at the moment.
I know.
Which,
do
again,
you think that the foster what?
I was just disappointed that we're not seeing any of these protests. I'm struggling to picture current Toya going on a protest, because she just comes across as being so straight-laced, and we know that Toya's got it in her, especially how she came into the show 20 years ago, but we see so little of this outspoken, free-spirited, opinionated Toya. She's just, as I say, very
I tell you
reserved.
what, I bet you night come 9 o'clock, Imran's off watching Top Gear, whatever, she's in the front room, glass of wine, Twitter, arguing with people.
Well, I need to see this. I need to see a bit more
going
fire
on there, finding all the
Toya's
people
belly.
who've got hashtag All Lives Matter, and just going, no, you don't understand. If all lives matter, then Black Lives Matter too. No. She'd have the time of her life right now. I also thought it was a bit funny that they went to this protest and we don't know what they were protesting about.
No, they did. They said it was something to do with an MP.
Yeah.
I thought they said.
An MP what?
I don't know. I didn't
I thought they just said that they were going to accost her on the way in and the way out.
I can't remember. You may be right. I don't know.
I would like them to actually... it seems a bit irritating and empty to have, these characters like protesting, but we're not going to commit ourselves to tell you what it is that they particularly care about. They just really like protesting. It makes them all look a bit frivolous and empty-headed, doesn't it? It's not like there's a lack of things to protest about.
They said it last time, definitely. I don't remember what it was, but the last lot of protesting they went on.
They need to decide whether these protests that they go on are funny, whimsical ones, or serious ones, or plausible ones. There's 3 types. Like, they could go off and protest about lesser spotted speckled bat habitats being destroyed by the local Funky McBurger town.
Yeah.
Then they could have we're going to protest Black Lives Matter, or police whatever.
Police brutality.
And then there could be something that is a bit less political, like environment. But they haven't even picked one of those.
No, they're just they just seem to like the opportunity to have the characters come back from a protest and describe what funny thing happened there.
I know, but I would really like them to see them. Why can't I tell you what they should protest the hospital, because they can just go outside and do that. Yeah,
or police station or something.
So do you picture Imran and Toya actually having getting to the stage of fostering a child?
I'd like to, but I don't.
Will they have a little kiddie running around going, "Screw you! You're not my real dad."
I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna say yeah. In my mind,
I'm gonna say no.
I have this really vivid.
I'd love them to.
I have this really vivid mental image of them getting to this meeting. I don't know if they can do any of this though, because I don't know how much they have to worry about representing the fostering experience in a truthful way, or whether they can just be silly and throw away with it. But it'd be quite fun and interesting to have Toya and Imran turn up and they'll be like, I can't wait for you to meet this guy. He's a cheeky chappy, he's a bit of a handful, you better watch out, I really likes cars. And then you get there and you're expecting to see a 5-year-old tousle-haired blonde angelic cherub child, and it's actually a 17-year-old kid who's smoking and drinking and running around with girls.
Imagine if they fostered somebody who was diametrically opposed to Toya and Imran's values, because they are very moralistic people, aren't they? Maybe it's some rampant meat eater or
somebody who doesn't believe in justice.
Some anarchist. Although Toya is an anarchist a bit, isn't she? She was back in the day.
What about if they accidentally end up fostering R. Kelly?
Oh, Kelly.
If the mum just flits off again.
Maybe.
It could be. It could very well be possible that it would make sense that
could make sense.
A current cast member.
Yeah.
Maybe Billy could die and she could have Summer.
Maybe. Well, we will see, won't we?
I think Summer and Toya are so similar to one another. I can just imagine if they moved in together.
Think of all the intellectual discussions they could have.
No, I just imagine them developing a twin language. You know, like twins do, and they speak their own language to each other. Yeah, and they're just sitting on the sofa, and Imran comes in, and they're going. And Imran's like, okay, tea, vegetable lasagna, anyone?
Finally, Gemma.
Yeah.
Tyrone and Fizz summed up in 2 scenes.
On Friday, Fizz and Tyrone are looking through Evelyn's diary to see what she's up to.
Yeah.
And she's got lots of dates planned in and things
Arthur
to do and protests to go to. And they realise that she has a better social life than them. And I don't know where this revelation comes from. I thought that being a retiree, that was the point of retiring, so you can actually do stuff you want to do instead of being bogged down with the grind of everyday life of having a job and caring for children.
True.
Anyway, this is a revelation to them. So Fizz points out to them that they've missed the young romance stage in their relationship, and I think I'd like to point out to her that that's exactly what every single couple in Coronation Street has to go through. Nobody goes through the young romance stage and goes courting, apart from Seb, Alina and Emma, and we spend the whole time going, this is boring, I want to get on with it.
I think it was also the fact that they were thrown together and they both had kids.
There was drama.
There was massive drama when they got together.
Yeah.
The culmination of the Kirsty story.
Yep.
But they had their kids, and then they had to be,
They
parents
really
at
go,
the same time as being newly in love.
They couldn't go dating.
Yeah.
They couldn't step out.
Although this wasn't the first time that they'd been out even, has it? Because they used to, and I think Fizz does say that. But
well, they just went straight to the grown-up part and the planning the dinner part and the clearing the table part.
they just got stuck in a rut, haven't they?
And so they decided to do something nice together that evening.
Yes.
To be continued. I think that's the thing we're all waiting for on Monday, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's their date going to be?
I don't know, but I don't mind. I found this very pleasantly realistic. I can see some people finding it boring. I know lots of people don't like Fizz and Tyrone, but I've got an awful lot of time for them, as you know. I enjoyed this stuff. I think the fact that they are just, boring and there's not a whole lot of drama that goes on with them is refreshing.
Do you know what I would like?
They feel the most realistic out of almost any couple on the Coronation Street at the moment, to be fair.
I would like, because the thing about Coronation Street is that it's a labour of love of many different people, and there is no one guiding principal person or concept that drives Coronation Street throughout the years. There's no like rule book or list of things that you must never do. Right? Anything goes. When the producer comes in, they can do what they like with these characters as long as people will enjoy watching it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I would really like there to be some kind of big book of things that you must never do, or like every producer can put like 3 vetoes when they pass on the show. Like, don't split up so and so.
Yeah.
Never kill thingamabob. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it does feel like no one's safe. No couple or relationship or actor or, I mean, there are a few like big names that will never go unless they decide to leave. But it would be really nice if we could know. I mean, we don't need to know, but it would be nice if there was something behind the scenes that was this big. I know they can't do this, but just like, could there be a way of going in the future, in 50 years' time, Fizz and Tyrone are going to find this out, and I've laid the foundations. It's just there's no way of doing it because that's not how soaps work.
No.
And no producer's going to start being told what to do, like the last person who left. But it is interesting that Fizz and Tyrone are still together.
I mean, they've been together for what, 8 years now, 7-8 years, which is a long time in modern Corrie parlance.
Well, they've been together since we've done the podcast.
Yeah, just after we started, they got together.
Because it was the Kirsty and Tyrone stuff when we first started.
And they haven't had a whole lot of drama.
There was a few bits and bobs, like that antiques guy that Fizz had her head turned. Yeah,
but on the whole, they've been nice and comfortable, and that's not exciting stuff, but it's realistic and cosy, and I hope that they stay together, and I hope they realise that the fact that they they feel so comfortable with each other is what makes them a good couple.
It is something that everyone can relate to as well. Like,
we're
stuck in a grind, and every day we just do the chores or whatever.
Yeah, I think they're just looking around and saying, across the road somebody's getting murdered. They're having a love triangle over there. That person's got a dying child. I know we used to have that, but we haven't got one at the moment. This person's got somebody mysterious from their past that's got some kind of secret over their dad. What have we got? Nothing. Our biggest dilemma is, what should we watch on TV tonight, ITV or Channel 4?
Our biggest dilemma is, should I treat myself and have 3 fish fingers, or should I just have 2?
Fish fingers or turkey twizzlers for dinner tonight. So they're just jealous of everyone else, but I just want to take them and say, don't worry, you're doing fine, Tyrone and Fizz.
It's fine.
Yeah. Honestly, what I'd say to them is, why don't you try getting married? You know how you've been engaged for 5 years?
Yeah, I could give that a crack.
That would be lovely to have them to have something to focus on.
It would also be a nice thing to do for the 60th anniversary year, to have a wedding of characters that we actually care about, who have actually got an established relationship, not just 2 people that got engaged 3 months ago.
Yeah, I think that would be
They don't
lovely.
even live in a house together.
I've almost given up hope on them actually getting married. It seems to have been very conveniently forgotten about. But if that's the outcome of this, that they decide, right, let's actually do this now.
I can't believe they haven't got married, considering that some people forget that they're not married and say that they're married. And they are such a long-running couple. And Coronation Street, like, they're not unpopular. I wouldn't say that they're in anyone's top 5 characters.
No, I don't think that people would object to them getting married. Some people might not care about it.
I know, but I don't remember the last time I cared about a Coronation Street wedding.
Is there anybody out there saying, no, they don't belong together, split them up? It's either I don't care about them, or let's see them getting married. So come on, let's see them getting married, please, Corrie.
I think it'd be lovely.
For me.
I think it would be nice.
Yeah. And after all the drama with Jade, it'd be nice.
I think it would be a good way to have a nostalgic wedding too, because we could have Tyrone talking about how he wishes Jack and Vera were there, and yada yada yada.
Absolutely, it'd be lovely, and also Evelyn's involvement, of course, would be
Evelyn
wonderful.
Would be absolutely fantastic. Like, she could just, Fizz turns up and she'd be like, when are you getting changed?
Is that what you're wearing?
Yeah, so many great put downs Evelyn could have in her stash, and also opportunities to be secretly sentimental.
And Hope and Ruby as little bridesmaids.
Little flower girls, tossing petals everywhere.
Or maybe Toya could be a bridesmaid.
No, and Arthur.
Why not?
She's a bit old to be a bridesmaid.
Well, who else is there be? She's supposedly friends with Fizz, although not we've ever seen any evidence of it in the past 3 years.
Evelyn could take Arthur as her date.
I think that they should have some. I think that Fizz and Tyrone should go out with Toya and Imran on just some evenings together. Like,
that's true. Actually, they've never just gone out casually as a.
If they're fed up,
Imran and Toya better start doing what they can while they've got a chance, because there'll be no going out for dates when they're fans of the joy turns up.
If Fizz and Tyrone are moaning that all they're doing is talking about what they're having for tea and talking about the girls, then they need to get themselves some friends, go out, and then they won't be talking about girls and fish fingers, will they? They'll be talking about, things that people their age talk about.
Well, they could put Imran and Toya off as well.
They could, yeah. Tell you what, Hope tried to set fire to the bedroom again today.
It would be a good idea for them to act. Have you ever seen Toya and Imran babysitting anybody?
I'm going to say no.
I think they should do, to give it a whirl. Maybe they'll be like, you know what, this is rubbish.
I can't believe that we spent more time talking about these 2 stories that had about 5 scenes between them than we did about any of the other major stories this week. But as I said at the beginning of this, everything was a bit of a continuation of what we'd seen before. Will they, won't they, with Shona and David? Oh, I hope Ollie's going to be okay. What's the mystery with Scott? Oh, Daniel, he's a bit sad, isn't he? There wasn't a whole lot new, which is why I don't think I can really give this week any more than 2 beans in a 5 bean. No, not 2. 2.5 beans in a 5-bean
That's
soup
harsh.
out of 5. What about you?
I'm going to give it 3 thicknesses of porridge. Because apparently that's one of the major problems of Fizz and Tyrone's life. The thing is, that it is mundane, and you do feel crap when you realise that that's your major concern in the day, but there are people that would kill to have that problem.
Yeah. Who can we have as the character of the week this week?
Oh, it's difficult.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it to Shona because
there weren't many people that stood out to me as really fighting their corner or saying well done them to any of them. I mean
Shona was good fun, but I feel like it would be a betrayal to old Shona to give new Shona.
Yeah, she'd have to be in her own little category. And you could give it to Nikki for putting up with Daniel's blubbing.
I'd put up with anything for an hour for 220. And you get a room as well.
Yeah, oh gosh.
Think of all those tiny little cartons of milk she's got now. I would have taken that if I was Daniel. If I'm giving you 220 quid, I'm taking all the tiny soaps and shampoos, and I'm taking the tea bags and the little packets of biscuits. And I'm stealing a towel.
Yeah. Okay then. Let's... No, it's really hard. Literally, this is a hard week.
Yeah.
Nobody is standing out particularly at all. David? I was just thinking of characters that were in it more. Daniel, no, because he betrayed the memory of poor Shona.
Shona?
No, sorry, it's Sinead. Leanne, because she was a bit dramatic and Jane did a good job. Dunno.
I don't know. Who can we give it to?
Evelyn?
Maybe I'll give it...
Nina? It's not often that
I'm completely stumped. Sometimes I'm stumped because I'm like, well, it could be this, this and this, because they were all really good. But this week, there were 7 different storylines, and a lot of them were just bitty ones. And even, the VE Day, the thing about the VE Day one was it gave lots of people a chance to have a tiny chat, but that just spreads everything out a bit more, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to give it to Rita, Norris, Ken, or whoever else it was, Audrey, just for those scenes. I'm definitely not going to give it to Carla and Peter.
Roy, because he was a bit wise with David and Shona this week.
What about Aaron? Aaron and Nikki.
God, it's really hard. I'm gonna go Shona because she was entertaining, kind of. I'm not convinced by this story, as you know, but I like Shona, and her new personality is sparky and unpredictable, and I kind of like that. Now you got to choose.
Why are you doing this to me?
Tradition.
I'm going to pick Boadicea for inspiring us all.
You go for it. You pick Boadicea. Sure.
I can't. Honestly, I don't know. It's going to be her or Nikki. I mean, maybe the spirit lives on.
Yeah.
I mean, what would Boadicea be doing now if she
why are you giving this a 3 and not less?
Because I feel like a horrible bitch if I give it less than 3.
You always give it half a point more than me, which makes me feel like a horrible bitch every week.
All right, I'll give it 2.5 then.
Yes, got you down. Change that on your spreadsheet.
2.5 thicknesses of porridge.
Fine.
So that doesn't make sense.
And we got Shona and Boadicea as characters of the week.
No, Nikki. I'll give it to Nikki.
Fine, okay.
Because Nikki was in it.
Well, there we go. That's this week's card. Hoping it's going to be good. And this week I was hoping that the Yasmin story would rear its head again. Next week, surely it must, shouldn't it? We've got to have the end of Yasmin's one very long week off.
Yeah.
So with that, with Ollie, with some Toya and Imran adoption stuff, with Fizz and Tyrone.
It's going to be an interesting week next week. And I mean, it's not really fair.
I hope so, because it feels like the scores have been low recently.
When it's not even a real complete week.
You can't complain about the pacing too much. It's not Corey's fault. And it's only been really an episode and a half that we've seen, really.
Yeah.
And you get bad episodes and a half. So anyway, that's that. Let's move on to some news.